Hello everyone, Sayan here, and I'll explain why incentive matters. But why do we need incentive in the first place? What are your thoughts? We all need some extra motivation to finish any given work, and the extra motivation is known as an incentive. We all know that it is easier to work harder when there is something better at the conclusion of the race. This is a fundamental of human psychology. As an example, before coming to SIDTM, I worked in my company's sales and marketing department. The job was really hectic, but the hefty incentive element used to encourage me. Now you understand why we chose the issue of incentive. Let's get into the specific of why incentive matters. So, how did incentive become popular? Let me tell you a story. England began shipping their prisoners to Australia near the end of the 18th century. Transportation was handled privately but publicly funded, and 40% of those convicted died because of overcrowd. But you know how the British government addressed this dilemma? They decided to pay the captain a bonus for each convict that walked off the boat in Australia alive. Now I'll discuss various type of incentive. There are five type of incentives: tax incentive, financial incentive, subsidies, tax rebates, negative incentives. Next part will be carried on by Shweta Mishra. Thank you.
Now, moving forward with the types of incentives, there are two types of incentives that affect human decision making: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic incentives comes from within, that is, a person with intrinsic motivation wants to do something for its own sake without an outside pressure or reward. For example, it is the knowledge that you did something right or you helped someone and made their day better. It is an intangible award of recognition, a sense of achievement, or a conscious satisfaction. It is that feeling of personal fulfillment and satisfaction that people get from doing certain things. Whereas an extrinsic incentive is an award that is tangible or physically given to you for accomplishing something or even threatening some punishment for failure to do so. It is a tangible recognition of one's endeavor. And by definition, all economic incentives are extrinsic motivations. For example, it is a certificate or of accomplishment, a trophy or medal for winning a race, or even a monetary reward for doing a job. Because extrinsic rewards are tangible, they are usually given to the person doing the activity.
So now me and my rest of the team is going to explain you the five most common types of incentives. Although the most common type of incentive system is payroll, wherein a paycheck motivates you to show up at work and perform your duties. There are a few other economic incentives as well, some of them being tax incentive. Tax incentives, also called as tax benefits, are reduction in tax that the government make in order to encourage spending on certain items or activities. For example, people above the income group of 5 lakh who are buying properties can save their taxes by showing their property investments. Second being financial incentive. A financial incentive is a broader term that encompasses any monetary benefit given to a customer, employer, corporation, or organization in order to incentivize them to do something they might not otherwise do. For example, in sales department, employees get a commission for each sale they do. Further on will be carried by my team.
Tax rebates. Tax rebates are incentives to take certain actions, like investing in solar energy. For example, in the case of renewable energy tax rebates, a state or local government offers a certain amount of money to consumers to purchase more environment friendly methods to generate electricity. For instance, a city might offer any homeowner who pays to install solar panels on their roof a check for $1,000. Subsidies. Subsidies are government incentive programs that provide set amounts of money to business in order to help them grow. Agricultural subsidies are common in the United States, with the federal government giving farmers billions of dollars both to farm more of certain products and to reduce their outputs in times of surplus. Agricultural subsidies aren't the only type of US government subsidy, of course. Other types of government subsidies include oil, ethanol, export, environmental, housing, and healthcare.
Now, moving forward to negative incentives. The purpose of negative incentive is to correct undesirable behavior and turn it into an effective result that creates a positive impact the entire organization. This could be anything from suspensions to demotions. Negative economic incentives punish people financially for taking certain actions. This is a way of encouraging specific actions without making them compulsory. Certain limitations are built-in limitation, resentment, manipulation. In built-in limitations, when it comes, they are more likely to produce stress among IT developers, engineers. Focusing on productivity can negatively influence quality. Resentment. When it comes to team based incentives, employees may resent co workers who are seen as doing less than their fair share. Manipulation. Companies use different metrics to measure sales, revenue, profit, margin, ROI, etc. So each metric has an own impact on incentive pay.